Hello and good morning, Anderson High School.
I'm Carlos.
And I'm Carlos. And this is Carlos and Carlos in the morning. This week at Anderson, seniors, remember, senior portraits are due November 19th. If you have any questions or to set up your appointment, call 512-617-7780.
And boys, remember that after Thanksgiving, we have soccer tryouts. So if you're wanting to play soccer, make sure you get out there and do that.
In our debate segment, we're talking about that 5 anonymous Jets players, they gave quotes to a newspaper ripping Tim Tebow, saying things like he's terrible, or when reporters asked them if he should start, they asked if that was a joke, just completely ripping him. Carlos, how does this affect your portrayal of the Jets?
Well, I mean, I've never really liked him to begin with, but now I've lost full respect for the team. I don't agree with the teammate coming out and just ripping their own teammate and a backup quarterback that could potentially be their starting quarterback. I think this leaves Rex Ryan in a position to where he could lose his locker room. I think that those guys should step up. If they really feel that way about Tim Tebow, they should step out and say that it was them that said it.
This does, in my opinion, this does 2 things to the team. One, it takes them from a bad team, which there are many, to like a just disgraceful team, because when you're ripping your own roommate, it shows the lack of respect you have. And when Rex Ryan has been bringing players in throughout the league over the last couple of years with no regard to character, this is what happens if you're not strict with them.
So you think Tim Tebow has no character?
No, not Tim Tebow, but like when you bring in players like that are willing to say things about that to other players, and you don't address it when they first come to the team, eventually their habits are going to come out. Also, in Rex Ryan's press conference today, he had to answer questions about this for probably 40 minutes instead of preparing for their game against Miami, which is a very big divisional game because the Patriots have already pulled away from that division, but a wild card spot could still be had. So now, instead of focusing on the game for Sunday, he had to take questions about his locker room falling apart.
What do you think about their draft pick? If you're saying that from here, it basically sounds like you're saying that the Jets are going downhill from here. So what do you think about their draft pick? Do you think they'll be top 5 after this, since their locker room's already falling to pieces? Do you think that will ruin the rest of their season and leave them in a position to maybe where they can get a better quarterback like a Matt Barkley, since the 2 quarterbacks they have right now aren't doing what they want?
You know, Rex Ryan, over the years, he's shown that he's very stubborn, and it hasn't paid off. He's gone with Mark Sanchez thinking he's going to pull off, because Mark Sanchez is actually a USC quarterback. He was very good in college. He had incredible numbers coming in, and he's always just like waiting for that breakout season and waiting and waiting. But here is like, where does reality trump expectation or potential? Like, is Mark Sanchez's potential greater than the reality of where he's playing? And for many years he has been playing, and in my mind it's no, and I feel like it's time to get a different quarterback, because that face of that franchise is Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez, and it's been falling apart. As
much as they may think that Tim Tebow is a nice guy and all that, I think there's a line between there, and I think they need to trade him if they want to move on. But alright, moving on in our debate, we recently looked up the 5 top teams of this week, and we got the Texans at 1, Falcons at 2, Bears at 3, the Broncos and Peyton Manning at 4, and the Green Bay Packers at 5. How do you think about those power rankings right there?
I think the Patriots are pretty underrated. That's my one pick that I feel like they should be in the top 5. I feel like, so they have the number 1 offense in the league, and it's undisputed. With their pass attack, when everyone's healthy, Aaron Hernandez, Wes Welker, Danny Woodhead, Rob Gronkowski, you can't double team any of those. And even if you do, a veteran quarterback like Tom Brady, arguably one of the best to play the game, is just going to find the open receiver. And also, their one point of mediocrity in the game the last couple years was their running game, but Stephen Ridley is arguably one of the most improved players from last year.
Good point.
And they have the number 6 rushing attack in the NFL, so their offense is unrivaled against any other team. Their defense has been giving up a lot of just points, well, not less points, but more yards, but they've been taking away they've had they're number 5 in turnovers this year, and with their acquisition of Aqib Talib from Tampa Bay, who's an elite corner.
Yes.
And
he just got off a suspension, right?
He got off a suspension, but if anything, Bill Belichick, he has lots of players that, like, they have shady backgrounds, but because the New England Patriots is such like a tight brotherhood, and they're like nothing flies, that they've been able to correct them, and just like they got to keep Talib for basically nothing. It was like a 7th round pick next year. So I feel like if they can make him to use, they should break the top 5, and they're going to be.
Well, speaking of defenses and the Patriots not being as good as what most people expected, how about the Texans? Their defense is outstanding. J.J. Watt stepping up. They call him the SWAT. He's like swatting balls left and right from the quarterback's throws.
What I see from number 1 and 2 is that Matt Schaub and Matt Ryan have never won a playoff games. And yes, they have really good, well-balanced teams, but I feel like inexperience is not going to do well for these teams. They've been winning lots of regular season games, and I think if anything, it was good for the Falcons to lose a game so they don't have the stress of trying to go undefeated. But I don't feel these teams will go that far. If anything, they'll lose in the semifinals of the playoffs because they don't have veteran quarterbacks yet. What do you feel about the power rankings?
I was actually looking a little bit further down the power rankings, and I saw the Cowboys at 17. They tend to always, like, I guess, what should I say, put the fans, like, down, I guess, because they can't ever... Yeah, disappointment, because they can't ever win the games that they should win. But I was also looking at their division, and I see that the Giants are on a losing streak, so if the Cowboys can keep what they've been doing, I guess I'm saying that off of one game, but if they can keep winning from here on out, they have a chance to not just make wild card, but actually have that bye going into the playoffs. So
that division is anything but locked up at this point in the season.
It is. So I'm just gonna keep my eye on the Cowboys and see if they can keep moving up into the power rankings and see if they can get into the top 10, potentially the top 5 throughout the end of the season.
Now we're going to transition to our picks, and we're going to bring in our senior analyst Dalton Clement for the picks. Starting with the NFL, we have Chicago at San Francisco. Dalton, who are you picking?
I'm probably going to have to go with Chicago for this one. San Francisco, great defense, great run game. Frank Gore just really putting everyone on his back on that team right now. Crabtree's really come through, but Chicago's defense is too good. Jay Cutler may look hurt, but I think Chicago's wide receiving core and their run game really trumps what San Francisco has on offense.
All right, well, I can understand what you're saying from there, but San Francisco also has potentially just as good a defense as Chicago does. I also think that Chicago will win this game, but watch out for Frank Gore. He's outstanding this season, though I do think Chicago has a very good defense, and I think they'll be able to stop it. So I'm taking Chicago on this one.
I'm taking San Francisco because Chicago's strength on defense has been taking the ball away and their secondary. But San Francisco's main strength on offense is their run game with Frank Gore. So if they can exploit Chicago's front seven, I feel like they have a good chance of winning this game at home. Our next game that we're looking at is Baltimore at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, a very big divisional game. If Pittsburgh wins, they'll be in control of that division, and if Baltimore wins, they'll stay ahead. They're playing each other. Important to note, 2 out of the next 3 games. It's going to be Pittsburgh is playing Baltimore, then they play the Browns, and they play the Ravens again. Dalton, who are you picking?
Well, I know that you like the Baltimore Ravens here, so I'm going to go ahead and point that out. But go ahead. Who do you think is going to win this game?
I think the Ravens are actually going to come through. I mean, I was very nervous in the first place just because I knew Big Ben was having a great season. I thought they were going to have Mendenhall, but Big Ben got injured with the shoulder. Mendenhall is still injured with his Achilles, is still iffy. Mike Wallace hasn't been doing that much. Baltimore's defense, yes, it has been weak, over the past couple weeks, but last week the offense really got going against Oakland. It's a good jump start. Ray Rice is looking fantastic. Joe Flacco's looking great, and Torrey Smith is just coming through.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with you. The fact that Ben Roethlisberger is out for this game, I think that hurts their offense. I talked about last week. I don't think Brian Leftwich, they're not even giving him the chance to throw the ball, and they have weapons like Mike Wallace and Emmanuel Sanders on the outside, and then the fact that their running game, half of their running backs are hurt, I don't think that's going to help them. Their defense is still outstanding, but I don't think they're going to be able to match up very well against the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Ravens in this one, even though it's at Steelers.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh because of 2 things. If 1, they're at home, and they have a great fan base at Heinz Field. 2, if Mike Tomlin is the best coach in the NFL at doing one thing, and that's patching up injuries. All season, Pittsburgh has arguably been one of the most hurt teams in the NFL, and they've still been finding a way to win. They're at 6-3 right now.
Yes.
And this kind of thing, it's not like it's the first time ever. It's not like Ben Roethlisberger has just emerged and they don't know how to deal with the loss of him. Over the last couple of seasons, that's why they switched to Todd Haley, so it could be like quick release offense, so Ben Roethlisberger would get less hit because he's been injured over the last seasons. But this Steelers team knows how to rally when Big Ben isn't there, and they already have a game plan and what works when Ben is out. I know it's a big loss, but they have big wide receiving threats and a big running game paired with the defense. And at home, I think it's going to be too much for this damaged Ravens offense.
Yeah, but you're saying that they have someone to fill in for Ben Roethlisberger, but before, who was it? Charlie Batch now? Was it before? I think it was last year, but now they have Brian Leftwich, and I don't think he is the quarterback to fill in for what they have.
I think on another side note, Pittsburgh does have all those injuries. Baltimore has also had their main linebacker taken out, Ed Reed's been messed up with his collarbone all season, and we lost our best corner, Ladarius Webb.
Exactly. So, but for Baltimore side of you, Ray Lewis has had an incredible NFL career because partly he's been amazing, but also he has barely gotten hurt. He's been starting almost all their games. So it was a bigger blow for Baltimore because they didn't have that other player to fill in because he'd always been playing. And for the last 14 years when it was Ray Lewis's era, he was always playing and he was always the heart of that defense. So now with the loss of him, it's harder to cope with him than it is with Big Ben because Big Ben has been hurt many times before.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and move into college football. Game day, college game day, game of the week, anything you want to call it. I think this is the biggest game potentially for the rest of the season besides the national championship for Oregon. Stanford at Oregon. What do you think? I'm going to go ahead and take Oregon here because it's at home, it's at night, and I feel like the speed will just take over at the end of this game. So I'm taking Oregon. Who are you taking in this one?
Interesting to note, this is almost exactly what happened last week. Alabama was number 1, and they were facing an SEC rival who were number 15 with A&M, and A&M came and upset them at home in Alabama. Huge underdogs. Here, Stanford's number 11, Oregon's number 1, Oregon's playing at home. I'm taking Stanford with the upset. They have a very physical defense. Their offense has been getting going, and their rookie QB, just like Johnny Manziel, is a rookie. He runs. He's had incredible numbers. I'm taking Stanford with a big Pac-12 upset.
Come on, Oregon has their own rookie quarterback too.
I'm taking Stanford with a big upset, big time game, big numbers. Stanford's gonna win. Dalton, who are you taking?
Dalton?
I'm gonna have to go with Oregon. I think last week Oregon was really slowed in the first half, but Stanford's gonna look at that film. They're gonna see it. They're gonna try and replicate what that team did, but Oregon's speed is just too much.
Another thing interesting to note is that Oregon also had Mariota just take over that game. When they couldn't have the running offense going, they just threw it. So I don't think Stanford's going to be able to stop both things. I think they're a double-powered machine, so we'll see. All right, moving on. USC versus UCLA. This game could potentially come down to whoever wins this game goes to the Pac-12 championship. I'm taking USC. I think they're going to figure things out. Matt Barkley, great quarterback, potentially number 1 pick overall. Who are you taking?
I'm taking USC.
Who are you taking?
I'm going to have to go with USC on this one.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and move into TCU at Texas. Texas just came off their big win. TCU just came off the loss to Kansas State. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Texas just because they've been playing very well throughout this past week. Who are you taking?
I'm taking Texas too. They're going to win this game at home.
Got to go with Texas. TCU's got the quarterback and running back problems right now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, going into NBA, last segment right here. Bulls versus Clippers. I'm going to take the Bulls. They've been playing very well without Derrick Rose, and the Clippers just came off the Heat win against the Heat, but I'm still going to take the Bulls on this one.
I'm going to take the Clippers. They've been a very much improved team this year. It's very impressive. Dalton?
I think the Clippers playing really well right now, so I'm going to go with them.
All right, well, the Lakers at Rockets. Rockets, Jeremy Lin and James Harden. Lakers, Kobe, still, playing very well. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Rockets, though, because I think Jeremy Lin and James Harden will overpower the Lakers on this one.
I'm going to take the Lakers. They're trying to get to the 500 season. I think they're going to get their goals and start rolling with their season this year.
I think the Rockets are going to take it. Lakers got too many problems with their coaches right now, so...
All right, well, thanks, Dalton, for coming and stopping by. Thank you guys for watching. That's it.
Thank you for watching Carlos in the Morning.
See ya.